Welcome back to SAT Math Practice, one page at a time with hints and tricks. This is practice test 7, section 4, which you are allowed to use a calculator for, questions 35 and 36. Please find the link to the official SAT practice test in the description below, as well as links to the other pages of this section. If you would like to try these two problems without any hints, please pause now and do so. I'll go through some hints and then go through them in more detail. So for 35, this is just a system of equations. You could very easily substitute by setting the two equations equal to each other. Graphing is another option, especially if you have a graphing calculator. You might be able to use that as a shortcut. For 36, a couple things are trigonometry basics that are not provided in the formula section. You would maybe want your little reminder of SOHCAHTOA for sine, cosine, and tangent, because we are given tangent of B. And then the other thing that will be helpful for this one is for a right triangle, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, c being the hypotenuse or the longest side of the triangle. Okay, so go ahead and try these now if you want to hit pause if you haven't already tried them, and then we'll go through them in more detail. For 35, if we go ahead and set these two equal to each other, but again, please take the time to try this with the graphing calculator and look for the video links to tips and tricks with the graphing calculator. It can be a real time saver. So this is a quadratic, right? So if I want to solve a quadratic, I'm going to set it equal to 0. So I'm going to go ahead and add x to both sides and subtract 4. Just kind of showing this all at once. So x squared minus 3x plus 0 equals 0, which zero product property allows me to solve by factoring. I factor out a factor of x. Then what makes each of these factors equal to 0? It would either be 0 itself or positive 3. So we have those two answers. And if you were to graph this, right, you would get a parabola for your quadratic and you would get a straight line for the second equation. And you would just look for the points of intersection, which would be x values of 0 and 3. So it's only asking us for one possible value of x though, and because this is the grid in section or write in your own answers, you would just want to put one of these or the other. You actually don't want to put both. So make sure you look through the information for this section where you are writing in your own answers. For number 36, if we sort through this information, we have tangent of B is equal to 3/4. So I know tangent is opposite. So the opposite side over the adjacent side. And you might be wondering, well, is it, when I look at opposite, is it DE or is it AC? And it is the AC. We're given more information that BC is 15. So I'm going to go ahead and put this as 15. And then DA is 4. So because it's telling us DA is 4, we're not going to have BD as 4 and DA as 4. So that indicates to us that when we're looking at those opposite and adjacent sides, that it's for the outer triangle. And then furthermore, we are asked for DE, right? So that's what we're trying to find. So they didn't actually give us that length yet. We are trying to find it. So when I'm trying to figure out what DE is, right, I can see it's a right triangle within a right triangle. But what's probably not making sense right now are these two 4s, right? How can this whole thing be 4 and then DA be 4? Well, our ratio of the opposite to adjacent side could have and would have been reduced, right? How do I know that? Well, the 15 over here tells me that because this is a right triangle, that the 3 and 4 aren't the actual lengths. because a right triangle, you might also remember it being called a 3, 4, 5 triangle, right? So here's my 3, here's my 4, but this isn't a 5, right? Well, the ratio though, to get it to 15 would be multiplied by 3. So if I multiply each of those, the 3, 4, 5 by 3, this is really going to be 9, 12, 15. So this AC is actually 9, right? Even though the tangent, the ratio of 3/4, again, that would have been reduced. So I'm going to go ahead and cross off the 3, and the 4 would have actually been 12. Okay, so now that tells me that BD would have been 8, but I am trying to find DE. So luckily, these two triangles, two right triangles, are going to be proportional. So I'm going to take my 8 for this section right here of the smaller triangle to the 12, right? So the same side of the larger triangle has to be equal to DE, so the bottom of the smaller triangle, which is what I'm trying to find, to the bottom of the larger triangle, 9. So I can just look at that and say, okay, I know 8/12 reduces to 2/3. So what over 9 reduces to 2/3? It has to be 6. Or you could easily cross multiply to get it that way as well. So the length of DE would be 6, and you would just grid in 6 for that one. Okay, so problems 35 and 36, please look for the link to the next page of this section. And if you have any comments, suggestions, and or requests for specific information, please put them in the comment section below. And if you could subscribe, like, and share, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you and good luck.